The first infidelity is the hardest. Donna Bellows examined her face in the mirror by the front door. She decided she would have to make do with what she had. Her husband's best friend, Gil Gentry, had called and asked her to meet him in town, at a small restaurant on the outskirts. She knew what he wanted and didn't know how he would react to what she told him. She picked up the large bag she usually carried over her shoulder. It may not have been overly stylish, but it fit everything a mother of 3 needed to carry. Taking her keys, she looked at her reflection again. "I really am an idiot," she said aloud. She slowly closed the door behind her and got into her BMW. As she drove to meet Gil, her thoughts went back to the night she had been at the party at the company where he worked. She knew better than to go there without her husband, Steve. But he had, almost at the last minute, had an emergency at one of the construction sites and had talked her into going without him. "Honey, you're already dressed, the kids are at the babysitter's, and you sure don't want to stay here or in the pickup while I try to clean up this mess? Besides, a lot of our friends are going to be at the party, and it would do you good to get out. I'd hate to miss it, but equipment failure is no reason you can't have a good time." So she went and had a really good time. Most of the people there were familiar. She went around and enjoyed the food, the conversation, and the drinks. Perhaps she enjoyed the drinks a little too much. She shook her head. She wasn't going to put the blame on anything or anyone but herself. She did drink enough to loosen her inhibitions quite a bit, but no amount of alcohol excused her behavior. She stepped out the back door for some air to clear her head. The slight buzz felt good, but she knew that a little more, and she'd have to leave the car and have someone drive her home. She took a deep breath and nearly jumped out of her skin when someone spoke. "Donna, what are you doing out here alone and unsupervised?" "Gil Gentry, what are you doing? Are you trying to give me a heart attack?" She laughed and walked over to him. He's definitely good-looking, Donna thought to herself. Tall, blonde, and handsome, he was such a contrast to Steve, who was stocky and swarthy. Not that Steve wasn't as handsome as Gil, but Gil had the movie star looks that made women melt. Even she was guilty of flirting with him when he wandered into various parties, including this one. But it was harmless, she reminded herself. She'd never gone further than casual flirting. She certainly never intended to do more than that. "You look a little cold, Donna. Here." Gil took off his sports jacket and threw it over her. Donna recognized that it felt good. She was wearing a sleeveless black dress that left her shoulders bare. It felt good inside, but there was a slight chill in the air. "Thank you." "No problem," he smiled. "That's what friends are for." Without giving her a chance to speak, he continued. "Seriously, what are you doing here? And where's Steve? Did I miss him tonight or something?" "Or what, I guess," she replied. She explained what had happened. Finally, she said, "I just wanted to take a little break from all the smoke. I don't understand how people can breathe." "I do. But hey, it's getting pretty chilly in here. How about," he laughed and bowed, "that I lead my lady down the hall and show her my new office? We'll stay out of the smoke and out of the cold at the same time." "Why, Gil, this is so unexpected," she laughed back. "Are you going to offer to show me your etchings?" "Would that work?" he teased her. "You should know better," she scolded him. "I do. And I'll be on my best behavior." He held out his hand to her and she took it. They walked down the softly carpeted hallway until he stopped and unlocked the door. "First Vice President. That's new, Gil. When did this happen?" "Just a few days ago. I had time to move everything out of my old office and make it all work here. But everything fits and everything works just fine." She thought briefly about the wording of the comment, but brushed it off. The office really was beautiful. The dark furniture was offset by the light wood paneling and the brightly colored curtains that were currently drawn. "It really is beautiful here," she commented. Absently, she took his jacket off his shoulders and threw it over a chair. "Yes, it is," he said softly. His hands gently touched her shoulders and stayed there. But not as beautiful as you. She herself couldn't understand how it had started. It seemed that one moment they were standing in his office, his hands lightly touching her naked shoulders, and the next moment they were in each other's arms. He kissed her frantically, and finally they made passionate love. Her sanity returned. Terrified of what she had done, she threw on her dress, stuffed her underwear into her purse, and ran out of the office building. She made it home and hurried into the shower, as if the hot water could wash away the incredible stupidity she had just done. When Steve finally got home, she pretended to be asleep. He climbed into bed, and she snuggled up against him. Trying to lie still so as not to disturb him, she eventually drifted into a disturbing slumber. The next day was no better. After everyone had dispersed for work and school, she sat at the kitchen table and began to ponder her deed. Not only had she betrayed Steve, it seemed like she had done it without thinking. 15 years of loyalty gone in one fell swoop. Well, it had happened. She felt terrible, but she was by no means going to act like what had happened once could happen again. She knew that the first betrayal was the hardest. For her, it was going to be the last. "Damn it, Donna," she said out loud to herself. "It wasn't even that good." Gil's attraction lay in his looks, that's for sure. His lovemaking skills were no comparison to Steve's. A few days passed and she began to calm down little by little. She still questioned whether or not she should confess to Steve. She knew it would hurt him terribly, perhaps unforgivably. At the same time, she thought that the honesty they had always given each other demanded a confession. She decided to think it over. She could not come to any decision. Perhaps by Saturday night, the night they always tried to spend together, she would know what to do. On Friday, the phone rang. "Hello? Hey, Donna, it's Gil. We need to talk." "Gil, I'm not sure this is a good idea. In fact, I know it's a very bad idea." His voice was determined. "You need to hear what I have to say." "I will." "Lunch at Sanderson's at 1:00? That'll be good. Don't be late." He hung up abruptly. The trip took forever. On the way, Donna mulled over and discarded a dozen different scenarios and conversations. The only thing she knew for sure was that there would be no affair. She couldn't change what had happened, but she wasn't going to repeat it. She parked near the door and entered the small restaurant. She smiled at the maitre d' and asked if Mr. Gentry had arrived. Receiving a nod, she allowed him to escort her to a small table at the back of the room. Gil was already seated there. "Hi, Gil," Donna said quietly as she sat down. "What?" he replied. "Come on, Donna. No kisses for your lover?" "For heaven's sake, don't even joke about that," she whispered. "Someone might hear you?" He looked at her in amazement. "After that night, is that all you can say? It was magical. It meant something special to me." Donna took a deep breath and looked at Gil sternly. "The only thing it meant was that you got turned on. You've wanted me for a long time, I know that. But what I don't understand is why. You have an amazing wife and Steve is one of your best friends." He grinned and shrugged. "It just makes it all the sweeter, knowing that Stevie's good old faithful wife, Donna, played cheater with me. I like getting what I can't have, or at least what no one thinks I can have." "God, Gil, I can't believe you're being so callous about all this," Donna marveled. "Well, it's even easier that way." She looked straight into his eyes. "I'm telling you that I made a terrible mistake last night and it will never happen again. I hope you enjoyed it because that's it. I will never make love to you again." "Oh, I think you will, Donna." Gil laughed triumphantly and tossed a large manila envelope on the table. Donna opened it and gasped as a set of photographs spilled out onto the table. She frantically squeezed them together and covered them with the envelope. They were pictures of her and Gil. More specifically, They were pictures of her and Gil making love. "Look at this one." Gil grinned as Donna thumbed through the candid photos. "What a wonderful picture. You look very happy on your knees." Indeed, Donna remembered with shame. She had really enjoyed it. "And this picture is even better," Gil interrupted her agonizing musings. "Look at you with your legs wrapped around me. I'm sure Stevie would love to see that expression on your face. Hell, Donna, I bet he's never seen it. I'm doing you a favor by keeping you close." "What do you mean, keeping me around?" Donna demanded. "Where'd you get those?" Even a blonde like you should be able to answer both of those questions. "You're an asshole," Donna hissed. "That's why you wanted to go to your office. You've got a view of everything in there." "Yes, it is," he smirked. "And it's no way to talk to your new, well, owner. Seems like such a possessive word, but it'll do. If you don't want any of this to get out, then from now on you will follow my instructions." Donna immediately realized what those instructions probably included. She grabbed the envelope and the pictures. "Oh, by the way, you can keep these." Gil nodded at the photographs. "I have several copies if you're interested." As Donna sat mute, Gil nodded his head in satisfaction. "Now that all the unpleasantness is behind us, let's get down to business. Not only will you entertain me whenever I want, I think you'll be a boon to my business." Donna lifted her head and shook it. "So, we've got it all worked out now. It's just a matter of you being polite to my clients. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. In fact, this weekend will be a good start. I have a couple prospective clients coming in from out of town. I don't care what excuse you give Steve, as long as you're at my house by 7 cows. To show you I'm not a bad guy, I'll even provide the underwear you'll have to wear. In the meantime, I think I'm in a good mood right now. So, follow me back to my place." "No," Donna said quietly. "What?" "I mean no." Donna looked at Gil. "I may have made a mistake that I'll probably never be able to undo, but I'm not stupid. If I had gone for it, I would have ended up deeper in your power, not out of it. Sooner or later, you would have made me do something that would have let the whole affair out anyway." She paused, and a sudden thought occurred to her. That's exactly what had happened to Sue Dahlgren, wasn't it? The Dahlgrens were acquaintances, not friends, but the divorce had attracted the attention of the whole community. From the look on Gil's face, she was right. He calmed his emotions and leaned back in his chair. "What are you going to do?" He laughed. "Tell your moral, honorable husband what a cheater you are." "Yes?" Donna's one-word answer completely stunned Gil. You wouldn't dare," he stammered. "I know Steve. He'll throw you right out on the street without a dime." "Maybe," Donna agreed. "And if he does, I can't blame him one bit." She stood up, stuffing the envelope into her bag. "I could lose everything. Him, the kids, all the material possessions I have. Not that they'd be worth anything without Steve and the kids, but it's a risk I have no choice but to take." Gil sat with his mouth open. His thoughts swirled. If she'd really done it? No, she just wouldn't dare. It was all a bluff. But what if she did? "Gil." He lifted his head. He was struck by the calm, determined expression on her face. "In case you're worried that your part in this is going to come out." "Worry." "I'll just deny it. It'll be your word against mine." Gil almost muttered in panic. "Of course. And these pictures will be something I created? I guess it never occurred to you that they work both ways. I think when this is all over, there'll be more than casual interest in you and your little scheme. I bet the Dahlgrens weren't the only couple you ruined. In fact," Donna paused as a thought struck her, "blackmail is a felony. You'll realize you slept with the wrong woman." Gil had obviously realized this fact. He put a smile on his face, stood up, and walked around the table. "Come on, Donna. There's no need for trouble. I was just making a little joke. Can't you take it? Donna stepped aside herself, keeping the table between them. I did it that night, and I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. Even if Steve finds it in himself to forgive me, I'll have a very hard time forgiving myself for hurting him and my family for nothing more than a brief moment of not-so-brief pleasure. Gil's face contorted, and he lunged at Donna. Give me the envelope! Donna quickly stepped back. Suddenly, a menacing figure appeared between them. Mrs. Bellows, how nice to see you in this hall today. Gil's face lowered as his eyes took in the nearly 2-foot-tall, very large, very muscular black man. The man continued. I hope there's no trouble here. I don't like this. It's bad for business. Oh, no, David. Donna smiled strainedly at her old friend. I was just leaving and Mr. Gentry felt we hadn't completed our business. I'm sure he's wrong, David said emphatically. Would you like me to walk you to your car, Donna? Please, David. Once she was safely in the car, Donna leaned her head against the steering wheel for a long moment. She started the car and mechanically drove to her husband's office. She pulled into the parking lot and parked next to his pickup truck. She got out of the car and locked it. Even under these tense circumstances, she smiled at the contrast. Steve insisted she drove a nice car, and she liked her BMW. He, on the other hand, kept driving a shabby pickup truck. If I buy a new one, it will be beat up too, he reasoned. She stopped for a moment and ran her fingers over her car. It was entirely possible that in a few minutes it wouldn't belong to her anymore. But that would be the least of what she could lose. She entered the building and turned down the hallway that led to her husband's office. Hello, Mrs. Bellows. Darlene, Steve's longtime secretary and receptionist, greeted her cheerfully. Hi, Darlene. Donna tried to put a casual relaxedness in her voice that she didn't feel at all. Donna? Darlene looked at her intently. Darlene and her husband Bill had come to work for Bellows Construction when it was just a young couple's dream. Although they were always formal at work, they were often at Steve and Donna's house. And the two women had been each other's confidants. For years. Their children were best friends. Darlene knew her friend was terribly upset about something, but she didn't want to press. It's okay, Darlene. Is he here? Of course. And he's alone. Thank you. Oh, Darlene, your brother still a lieutenant in the sheriff's department? Sure. And his wife's a detective there, too. Why? Just curious, Donna replied. She opened the outer doors to Steve's office. She paused with her fingers on the knob of the inner door. She could still turn away, go back to Gil, and hope that she could somehow convince him to abandon his plan. No, she thought angrily to herself. She wasn't the first woman to be deceived by this man, but she was going to be the last. Donna took a deep breath. She squared her shoulders, brushed a tear from her eye, and reached deep inside herself for a reservoir of strength she didn't even know she had. With her head held proudly high, despite the guilt and agony in her heart, she opened the door and stepped inside. The end!